Are you ready to ignite? Better. With MEF, you're a part of something better. A better together ecosystem of network, cloud, and technology providers whose sum is greater than the parts. Together, we imagine, invent, and ignite accelerated digital transformation for the enterprise. Together, we deliver secure automated services for a better customer experience. MEF provides the baseline, including MEF 3.0 standardized services, LSO automation APIs, and test, training, and certification, which provides a common language and interoperability, drives mainstream adoption, and ensures predictable outcomes. You differentiate on top of the baseline with innovation, a market-leading portfolio, an extensive partner network, outstanding support, and more. Being a part of this powerful ecosystem allows you to accelerate service delivery, gain competitive advantage, and generate new revenue faster. Welcome to the MEF Better Together ecosystem.
Are we happy to be back to face-to-face meetings? Woo! For those of you that don't know me, Kevin Vachon, a lot of familiar faces I see, but there's a lot of new faces here too, and we're going to be kind of touching on that a little bit. But wanted to kick off today by thanking the great folks at Orange for hosting us. They've been awesome to work with. Special mention to Frank Morales, wherever Frank is. I get the lights bothering him here. On our board, and Neil Lowry, Frank's teams, he's worked and his folks worked every day almost with Lori to organize this thing. So thank you very much, guys. It's been awesome to work with you. There's Frank. Okay. I can see you there. There's a light. Yeah, just a couple of little housekeeping notes before we kind of get on with the proceedings here. As was the case with all of our meetings that were virtual, the individual committees, and this, we have a big virtual audience here as well. So this sort of point probably applies to them more than anybody here, but we have individual Zoom links on our wiki pages for the committees. Everything is being recorded and it's being uploaded generally as soon as the proceedings finish for any given session. And if you're remote, we are monitoring the chat, and if there's any questions that are coming in here or elsewhere, then we'll be happy to pick them up. There it is. Delay. Everything's rusty, after 2.5 years not being used, right? Just touching on the agenda after I'm done for a few minutes here, I'll reintroduce someone who most of you, some of you knew, but some of you don't know. Nan Chinny's over there, but I'll reintroduce. And he's going to have the honor of introducing our guest keynote from Orange, Anne-Marie Thialet. We'll take a little bit of a break after that. Pascal will be providing an update on our technical strategy. He's also going to be talking about our new technology advisory board. Nan's going to touch on that. Pascal's going to get into a little bit more detail. It really got kicked off yesterday, actually. And we're going to have an SD-WAN and CECP panel. Then we do something called a community update, which is kind of an update on new members, certifications, marketing programs, other kinds of things of interest to members that we do to try to keep you in tune with us and so on. The lunch is going to be downstairs in the restaurant, and we'll have another panel around service automation, digital transformation, and we're going to have an analyst panel. And then we bring our chairs up, the committee chairs, a little bit of a different format this time. They're going to talk about their committees, and they're going to talk about the work that they're doing here this week. And then we'll just wrap up. And then we give you a bit of a break for an hour and a half, and then there's a welcome reception. We'll give you some details as to where that is a little bit later on. I want to talk a little bit about the membership. Some of you are new to MEF, and you may be unaware of really what does your community look like. And we have about 200 member companies at any given time. We've maintained a ratio of about 2/3 to 1/3 of service providers versus others. And I think it's the other community is changing. It's evolving as the scope of work, the nature of work changes. So that 37% that you see there, as you network and spend time in committees and other sessions over the next few days, you're going to see a lot of different types of companies. So historically, if you go back years, we had a lot of the key vendors, technology vendors, and of course they're still here, where there hasn't been consolidation in that space. We've had, obviously, with the you know, the traction around LSO, there's an increase in the OSS, BSS community. But now we have more solution providers in that area, aggregators, integrators, and so on. You'll see some of that reflected when I announce some of our members. So it's great to see the ecosystem, if you will, evolving, because for this whole thing to work, the work that you guys are putting into this, for it to actually be adopted in the industry, you know, we need a whole ecosystem of players to make it happen. And we're working hard to do that. And in terms of the types of people, it's quite varied, and I'll get into that a little bit more in a second. Just without going into a ton of details here, just to give you a sense for how the MEF is set up to operate. It's been an evolution over many years. Obviously, we have our board. To the right of the board, you'll see a new box, and it's a technology advisory board, which Nan is going to touch on, as I mentioned. Pascal will go into more detail. And that's been formed to bring the senior executive vendor community to the board in a much bigger way. And I'll make a note that we're putting out a press release today announcing our new technology advisory board. We kicked off yesterday with their participation in our board of directors meeting. We had a very, very productive session. But, you know, in terms of the committees, the Digital Services Committee, and they're basically build the service standards, very simply. Obviously, the LSU committee does all of the technical work associated with the framework and the APIs, the AKs, test and certification, builds those types of programs, as you would expect. And something that's fairly recent, it's only 2 years old, commercial and business. And in its most simplest format, the commercial and business committee essentially brings business requirements to the table, which in many cases will end up in technical work going on in those other three committees. Over on the right, you see the staff with you know, numerous responsibilities and functions, as you would expect. And one of the things we did over the last couple of years, we transitioned marketing from being a committee to a staff-led function. The video you just saw was courtesy of our marketing guru, who's at her first MEF meeting, Lisa. You'll be introduced. You'll be hearing from her in a few minutes. So that's what we look like. And I bring this up because if you look at the nature of the proceedings during the week, it's you know, it's aligned to these committee works. It's also, as you'll see, quite aligned to the MEF 3.0 framework for how the work is kind of segregated within that framework. Who is here this week, both virtually and in person? We have, it's a record registration, pre-event registration, combined virtual and on-site. We have over 300 people. Very significantly, we have 128 companies, and we used to probably track about 80 companies participating in any given MEF quarterly meeting when we were doing face-to-faces. I think it was a little bit higher virtual, but the fact that we've got 130 or close to 130 out of 200 companies that are registered, that's pretty good numbers for us. And we've, you know, we weren't quite sure what kind of on-site crowd we were going to get given everything going on, but we have 140 people registered here, and hopefully we'll get close to that with the registration. Quite, as you'll see from the tags and networking with people, a real variety, reflecting the nature of the contributions, the work that we're doing, quite a variety of people here, from a lot of senior execs on our board, our tab, and others that are here. We have some of them that have been recognized as MEF distinguished fellows in other associations. Of course, a lot of technical engineering folks, product managers, marketing, and so on and so forth. Probably something new to MEF. With our LSO partner conference, there's a greater emphasis on bringing the developer community that are implementing our APIs. So quite a cross section. And one of the challenges we have is how do we make the agendas suitable for the variety of MEF participants. But we're thrilled with where we're at there. And what are these meetings historically designed to do? What are they designed to do now? First and foremost, we realize that we have many participants that maybe are not deep and come here to get updated. They want to know what's going on, the top level view of MEF, the vision, the strategy, what kind of work is being done, just to get informed. And hopefully, whether you're on virtually or whether you're here in person, we'll achieve that. And the plenary is very much designed to provide that kind of high level view without drilling deep into particular projects. The second thing is, of course, most importantly, these are working sessions. All of these, whatever the number of projects we have, 50 plus projects now, most of them have weekly calls, bi-weekly calls, whatever, but they all kind of come together. They get reviewed. voting happens, decisions get made, work gets progressed, standards are approved, and so on and so forth. So these are, first and foremost, this is where the work gets done, or at least it gets reviewed in any case. And I think something that we probably realized was, very important that was missing over the last 2.5 years was the whole networking aspect where, the virtual stuff was okay, but the face-to-face, there's no substitute. So we hope you have the opportunity to meet the kind of people you want to meet, get some business done if that's what your objective is as well. So quickly looking at the week, today we have the plenary, and there's a welcome reception. At the end of the day, I'll give you the details as to where that is. Tomorrow, our first ever LSO partner conference, reflecting and you'll hear about that, the momentum, adoption momentum for LSO, the greater number of people that are getting involved with actually making all of that happen. So we decided to have a whole dedicated dual track format, which I think has been a big drawing card for the event here. One of the committees is meeting tomorrow in parallel. They have a lot of work to do. They had to, they couldn't squeeze it into the last couple of days, the Digital Services Committee. And then we have the cruise hosted by Orange tomorrow evening. And again, tomorrow we'll remind you when the buses are leaving there and so on and so forth. You don't need those details. All the committees meet on Thursday, 4 parallel tracks. And then we have another event hosted by Orange. It's a cocktail and it's a showroom tour at their new headquarters, so demonstrations and so on. And again, more details to be provided as we get a bit closer to that. Then we wrap up on Friday with a couple of committee sessions and a closing plenary. The closing plenary, if you haven't been to, it's always recorded, and it's a really good, if you want to look at it later and in fact pass it on to people in your organization, it's a nice, well-formatted snapshot of what happened at the meeting, technical work, the status of it. So if that's a summary you need or you want, then you can download that after even if you can make it, having the summary materials are very good. So that's what the week looks like. As you can appreciate, it's been a bit of a weird time over the last while trying to host or to plan MEF quarterly meetings. And we made the decision to go ahead with this one. We're obviously happy we did that. We hope to announce in the next week or so that we'll be in Denver in the US for our annual meeting. We're just negotiating with a couple of hotel properties there. We have a couple of date options, probably the last week. We're 90% sure it's probably the last week of July in Denver, but there'll be a member announcement coming out on that. And then we're going to kind of pick up steam to try to schedule the locations for the next few meetings after that. The dates for the next few meetings are pretty firm. So we're getting back to, hopefully getting back to normal, keeping our fingers crossed. Just to let you know, about half of our staff team is here today. Maybe you guys can stand up so we can see you. There's Tom over there. Tom has probably helped every member at one point in time. Lisa, Lori, Michael, Daniel, Pascal somewhere. Robin is out at the desk. But look, the team is there to help you. We have about almost half the team that's never been to a MEF quarterly meeting. There's a little bit of an education session going on here. But we're here to help you, whatever you need, ping any of us, and we'll look after you. So thank you for hearing me out here to get things started, and you know who I'm going to turn it over to right now. Thank you.